Mr. Chairman, it's my pleasure to introduce our next witness, Dr. William McDowell. He's the Management Professor of Entrepreneurship and Family Business at East Carolina University. He received his PhD from the University of North Texas in Management in 2006, and his research specializes in the area of small and medium-sized enterprises and their relationship within them and larger organizations within the supply chain. Dr. McDowell is also Vice President of the National Small Business Institute, an organization dedicated to field-based student consulting and outreach to small businesses. As a co-editor of the Institute Journal, Dr. McDowell has written scholarly research articles in the fields of small business management, entrepreneurship, and field-based learning. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Graves, Ranking Member Velasquez, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss this very important topic. The views and research that I will present today are my own and not necessarily those of East Carolina University or the Small Business Institute. Examining the potential benefits for large and small business collaboration is a very great thing, but there are 4 key hurdles that small businesses face when trying to do business, especially with large business. To be an effective partner, small businesses must be able to overcome these hurdles and obstacles in order to be effective. Access to capital compared to large businesses is the first area. Small business basically means fewer assets, which does translate into less capital and less money for operations, for equipment, and expansion. In addition, because of being a small business, oftentimes they have a smaller product and market scope, which does translate to fewer revenue streams from which to be able to access capital. And of course, in this rough economy that we've just come through, many of these small firms have completely depleted their cash and inventory levels, creating much more difficulties. Thus, the difficulty in obtaining capital, especially for women, minority, and socially disadvantaged businesses, can be a very serious issue when they're trying to work with larger businesses. In addition, small businesses, because of their size, are usually at the dependent stage when we look at the power dependency levels. Small businesses are often a niche supplier, sometimes supplying to only one business, and research shows that being a niche supplier actually works against these small businesses in retaining contracts with larger businesses, and especially in retaining contracts with the Federal Government. These smaller businesses, because of their niche status, can be simply eliminated when the larger businesses find cheaper alternatives or other ways of reducing margins. And so in this case, being a niche market producer does create a problem for them. However, research does show that information quality, continued quality improvement programs, trust, communication, these all do aid the small business in being able to be effective in these supply chain relationships. However, most of these organizations, because of their size, do not take advantage of things such as continuous quality improvement programs. Flexibility, because of their size, can be a very key competitive advantage. But again, oftentimes they don't realize that that's their advantage, and they don't go out and try to seek ways to emphasize that. Another disadvantage that they have are tax disadvantages. It's not necessarily the tax rate that's the problem, but the difficulty in computing taxes for these small businesses. One major issue that's come up in a recent conference was that many small businesses don't have the experts on staff to find or take advantage of the tax credits that are available to them. Therefore, they're missing out on those advantages. Large firms have large staff, large groups of individuals who are working to help them find these advantages and build on those. And so that can be a problem. Recently, the National Federation of Independent Businesses indicated that the #1 problem for small businesses is sales. However, this has come down to almost equal with taxes within the past few years. And right now, the percentage point is only 1% between those two. But if we look historically, taxes have been cited as the #1 problem for small businesses over the last 25 years. And the final area is basically the access to qualified business experts for advice and direction. Large businesses have experts on staff to help maximize profits, reduce cost, and streamline their processes, whereas small businesses often do not have these resources on staff to be able to do these for them. Unfortunately, too many small businesses, and this is from experience, are not familiar with programs by the SBA from local SBDCs or SBCs, which is literally to their detriment because these can be excellent programs for them to help. Thus, they begin to narrow their focus because of not being able to take an outsider's view of the situation. And this is often to their detriment. Really, the crisis of today that they are facing prevents them from positioning for tomorrow. A problem with this is that they can overestimate sales. Again, if we look at the NFIB's recent paper, it shows that small businesses continually overestimate what their sales are going to be, only to be disappointed when they have their actual sales numbers come in. Larger firms, they're amenable to stakeholders, therefore they're able to have individuals to help them estimate those sales. So what are my recommendations? I think we need to continue to create a favorable lending environment for small businesses. We need to give better information for small firms to broaden their scope. We need to streamline the tax system so that all firms can take advantages of all the advantages that are available to them. But most importantly, we need to get small firms access to information and experts through the SBA, the SBDCs, SBCs, and even the organization I'm familiar with, the SBI. I would like to thank you, committee, for the opportunity to present my views of the current struggle of small business, and I welcome your questions.